do you have any hints or tips or points that you want to lead business owners to which key things must they have on a home page of a website? What would you say are the key 3 or 5 ingredients that a business owner should have on the website, on the homepage, or on the website?
Yeah, for sure, on their homepage, yes. So there's a few of the key things would be, so first of all, you want your most important thing on the website is going to be your call to action button. When people arrive on your page, after 3 seconds, they'll have read in the middle of your page what pain point you solve for them. And immediately they're going to want to know, okay, so then what do I do?
I'm Gordon De Silva, a business owner just like you, who has been in the trenches and come out the other side to own a business that delivers an incredible life and an incredible opportunity to help others. I've gone from working too hard, being stressed and unprepared for business life and the challenges it brings, to owning businesses that help me change clients' lives and gives me more freedom than I ever thought possible, and that never even existed as a daydream. I created the Talking Business with Gordon podcast to offer you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. If you are an ambitious business owner or just starting out on the journey, looking to create a business that creates an impact, but also a business that delivers the life you love, then you're in the right place. Let's get started. Today we're talking to Christel Bantel. Christel is a technology wizard, and today, out of all the topics you could talk about, we decided to talk about website landing pages. Website landing pages are critical to business success if you're looking to grow your business, grow your customer base. So let's get started. Series 1, Episode 11. Hello, welcome. This is Gordon again, welcoming you to this latest episode of the podcast. And today we have got Christel Bantel. Now, Christel is the tech fairy. Now, if that conjures up some images, you've got it exactly right. She does what it says on the tin. She fixes tech stuff. She makes tech stuff easy, like the fairy. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Christel. Christel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Gordon.
Christel, you're in Canada, Manitoba.
Yes, I am.
Now, tell me what Canada, I would imagine, is cold. You probably surprise me and tell me it isn't. But it's probably at this time of year, we're recording this sort of in late autumn, November. What's the temperature like over there?
It's a little bit chilly now. We just got some snow on the ground now, so but it's definitely not cold all of the time.
No, it's definitely not. I think your summers are quite short and sharp, aren't they? You've got a very short window of summer. It's like 3 months. And
yeah, winter lasts 6 months of the year, so we've got half winter and half summer.
That's really cool. One of my favorite places to visit when I go on holiday is Canada. The areas I like are the mountain areas on the East Coast and the West Coast. Mm-hmm. I've got such fond memories of my holidays in those two places.
It's just gorgeous.
The scenery is just amazing.
It is. Anyway, I agree.
I'm feeling a bit travel sick right now. I'm not traveling enough. We're in our second phase of not going anywhere.
Yeah, I know. I think everybody's feeling travel sick.
I know.
I know I am.
Oh, absolutely. Anyway, Christel, tell us a little bit about what you do. Tell our listeners what you do and who you do it for.
For sure. So I design websites mostly currently, actually, but I help entrepreneurs that are starting out either with a fresh business idea or entrepreneurs that already have their business running. But either way, they're looking to get their business online. So I've been doing a lot of done-for-you websites, landing pages, sales pages, helping people set up their email lists, all these technical things that people can tend to feel overwhelmed with when they start out their business because they've got a great business idea, but they don't know the tech. So that's where I come in.
It can be quite daunting, can't it, when you're sort of faced with a business to taking it online, especially now when online is becoming more and more important.
Yeah.
It has been for a few years, to be fair, but it's getting even more so now with what's just happened. It can feel pretty overwhelming, and somebody like you can come in and solve these things. We'll talk a bit more about some of the specifics you mentioned. But who are your ideal clients? Do you work for any type of business? I know sort of businesses getting online, but is it any type, or do you specialize in a certain niche or industry?
Well, I used to have it narrowed down to just moms specifically because I myself identify with moms. I'm a mom myself. I'm a mom with 2 kids. I've got a 3 and a 4-year-old.
I remember those days.
Yeah, there are some chaotic days for sure. But I have, I'm not 100% narrowed to what I will ultimately be. So I'm kind of finding my way in there, which I think is a very okay place to be for any entrepreneur listening. But I do focus very much on a community of people who is specifically like they're already driven. They already have their vision. It's already set before them. But they're specifically overwhelmed with the technical side, and would rather either give that over to someone to do that for them, or I'm also starting to navigate towards people who are specifically interested in learning how to do it for themselves. But either way, they're starting off with a feeling of like, I feel a bit overwhelmed with tech. Like it kind of scares me a little bit, where they don't feel tech savvy. And those are the people that I absolutely adore helping. Like if anybody makes a post somewhere saying like, I'm so frustrated with this, I don't know how to begin. Like that's the type of thing I just gravitate towards. I love helping.
Absolutely. It sounds like you're really good at it as well. So when you enjoy something and you're good at it, that is a match made in heaven, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
So when you work with these, I mean, do you find them or do they find you? I mean, do they sort of go, well, I really need to get this fixed. I need a tech fairy, or is it something that you see posts and you sort of say, look, here's a couple of things you can try? Which way around does it go, do you think? Or is it a bit of both?
It is a little bit of both. I'm finding it helps a lot when you're just being helpful to other people. If you're spending a lot of time on, on social media or something where your people are hanging out, I'm finding that it's very easy to, when you know who your ICA is, when you know who your ideal client is, and who you're drawn to help, it's actually very easy to spot them. And it's very easy to spot someone who needs exactly what you have. And it costs nothing for you to just be helpful. And especially if I introduce myself as your tech fairy, I don't have to say anything about what I do, and they already can decide for themselves if that sounds like something they need or not.
That is brilliant. So let's just unpick some of the things we talked about, because some of these terms people may not know what they are or why they need them. For some business owners. So I think most business owners, let's assume they're aware of a website, but we talked about two specific pages. We talked sales pages and we talked landing pages. Can we sort of go into a little bit about why, what they are and why they're really useful for business owners?
Yeah, for sure. So a landing page, well, in reality, a sales page is also a landing page. It's just the first page that someone's landing on, but that's kind of the common term that we use for an opt-in page. And that's where in the start of your email or content marketing, you're going to have someone land on your opt-in page where they can opt into some kind of free, valuable piece of content that they're going to want to download in exchange for their email address.
And so I just want to bring the audience with us. Is that I know the difference, I think, but can you describe what the difference is between a home page, like a website homepage, and the landing page? Is there a difference there? Do you see, do you see, are they just the same thing?
Yes, actually, I do see them as pretty majorly different. So a home page is what you're going to know as the first page of your website. Right. And your website is kind of, that's your business, storefront, let's say, or that's where people go and check out your entire business and so forth. But a landing page or an opt-in page specifically is going to be very different than a home page, because a home page will have all your navigation menu. It'll have all the stuff, right? All the different rooms you can walk into.
Contact us and about us and
exactly.
All the other stuff, right?
Exactly. Whereas a landing page is a very directed funnel of like this. You want them to do one thing on a landing page, and that is to read your headline, hook, sentence or question, and then they're going to basically get led to the call to action, which is, download now, or something like that, book now or something. You have one thing you want them to do on a landing page.
And would I be right in saying that the landing page wouldn't have any navigation? It wouldn't have any home button or contact us button. It's got nothing on that. It's just the one page with one criteria, which is to get people to download or click or take an action. Would that be right?
That is exactly correct. Yeah. And so you've got one focus there.
Yeah. And is there a difference between a landing page, an opt-in page, and a sales page, or are they similar?
So they're a little bit similar. So an opt-in page and a sales page are different, but they are both landing pages. They're just both the page where people will land on. That's the page where you will send people to have one goal in mind. And the goal on an opt-in page is for them to to give you their email address in exchange for a free piece of content, whereas a sales page is a landing page where the goal is for you to sell them something. They're going to pull out their credit card and purchase your offer.
Perfect. So they're both landing pages. One's a sales page, one's an opt-in page.
Yep.
And the definition of a landing page being no navigation, no little buttons they can click off and go and wander off somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah, they land on it and they've got one goal on that page.
So, for a business owner who's a little bit nervous, overwhelmed, unsure what to do next about it, what are the steps they would need to think about before they put a web page or a website up? What are the sort of things they have to have it clear in their mind before they go in and start putting stuff online?
For sure. So some things that they would need to think about is, first of all, what is your ideal client or your ideal community? Who's the person that you want to reach with your offer? The people that you want to sell to. That would be the biggest one. You want to also define kind of the pathway that you want to take your customers on. It's good to start with your end goal in mind. So if your offer is, a coaching package, then how do you want to lead them to your coaching package, right? So you want to start with, a lead magnet of some kind. You want to, offer them some kind of free piece of information that they'll actually find valuable enough to exchange with their email address. And then you want to have an email sequence that will basically lead them to your offer ultimately.
So we're getting into some real significantly amazing stuff here, really powerful stuff. So we've got the customer, we've got this customer journey, if you like, a digital customer journey. Would that be a good way of describing it?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
So we got a customer journey. And I love the idea of starting with the end in mind. What do you want them to do? Because too often the websites I stumble onto are basically, here's some stuff about us.
Yeah.
And there's no definitive, you can't sense there is a path they want you to go down. Is that something you see quite often when you look at websites?
Yeah,
it's anyone who stumbles on these ones.
Yeah, exactly. If you want an effective website, you want to be taking them on a journey on your website as well. Even if your website isn't a landing page, so to say, but you want to guide them what they're doing. So, for example, my website that I've been, I'm always redesigning it and evolving it and perfecting it, but it's important to have a call to action on there as well. The top right corner is a great spot to put it, and the middle is as well. It's just where the I will go first. But you want something specific. You want to say, this is what I do in 30 seconds upon a person arriving on your website. Sorry, I said 30 seconds. In 3 seconds, like just glancing at it, and somebody should already have a pretty solid idea of what you do or what problem you can solve. So if the first thing they're seeing on a website is just hi, this is my name and I'm from here and this is kind of what I do and this is about me. Like nobody really cares, as amazing as you are, but they first want to know what problem you can solve for them. So
yeah, absolutely. And one of the common things I see on websites is we've been in business for 30 years or 130 years and nobody really cares. And
yeah,
when you talk to a business owner, they are sometimes surprised. You sort of mentioned 30 seconds and then you went to 3 seconds. They're sometimes surprised at how little time they have to capture the attention of. I mean, I've seen some stats that say it's 3, 7, 10 seconds. Is that the sort of industry norm? Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, it's all about that first impression, right? And that first impression, actually, like I said, 30 seconds feels short. And then when I thought about it, the process my brain went through is actually that you can set up pop-ups on your page and you can identify after how many seconds you want them to see it. And if it's like 26 or 30 seconds, that's like after they've scrolled through the entire page, actually. It's a long time.
People don't have that attention span anymore, do they? If they don't get what they want in the first few seconds, Google's going to give them another million opportunities to go.
That first glance at your website is going to determine if they're interested to keep scrolling or not.
Yeah, and so
gotta catch them.
So let's talk about the homepage, and then we'll talk a little bit about. We went to talk about email sequences and all that sort of stuff. Let's talk about the homepage. Do you have any hints or tips or points that you want to lead business owners to which key things must they have on a homepage of a website? What would you say are the key 3 or 5 ingredients that a
For
business owner
sure.
should have on the website, on the
Well,
homepage, or on the website?
yeah, for sure, on their homepage, yes. So there's a few of the key things would be, so first of all, you want your most important thing on the website is going to be your call to action button. When people arrive on your page, after 3 seconds, they'll have read in the middle of your page what pain point you solve for them. And immediately they're going to want to know, okay, so then what do I do? Well, I want you to book now, or I want you to call now, or I want you to download the free guide. I want you to download my starter kit, whatever it is. But that thing that you want them to do, they should immediately find it. They shouldn't have to go looking for it because they don't want to work hard to figure it out, right? So your key thing is your call to action button is very prominent.
Yeah.
And then
the problem you solve, you said as well, didn't you?
Yeah, very obvious. Yeah, it's
the problem you solve is
and the problem you solve. Yeah, the problem you solve will be right in the front and center. That'll probably appear like either as a headline or as part of a banner that you'll have kind of in the center of the page or right underneath. It kind of, there's a few different ways you can work with it, but your eye should go right to the big letters, saying basically the problem you solve, or it can be a question that raises up the feeling that they want solved. But it should be very obvious what it is you what it is you tackle. And then,
oh, sorry, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, you've told them what you're going to tackle. The next thing that they'll see is your call to action button, which can be in the middle and at the top right, is the most effective. Is if there's no questioning, it's like either place they'll click it. And then the next, like let's say the third most important thing would be right underneath. You would make it seem simple, make your solution for them seem simple. Something like 3 steps. No more than like 5 is plenty, like no more than 5. But three is a good number. I'll solve this problem that I told you about in these 3 easy steps. Just to make it feel like, wow, if I work with this person, they've got it figured out. It won't be overwhelming. We can actually get my problem solved.
Some of the business owners that may be listening today may be thinking, my business is complex. My business is far more than 3 simple steps. This is not
sure.
What would you say to them? I mean, I know what I would say to them, but what would you say to them when they come to you?
Yeah.
I can't do 3 steps.
Your business may be complex, but if you come across as complex, you're not going to have a lot of business. Your business can't go on too long if it's too complex. Make it helpful and complex in the back end as far as what you do to help them. But if you come across as complex, then you're going to be losing customers.
Perfect. So now we've got people on our website, and we talked about maybe them downloading something or joining an email list. So let's go down that track for a second. So they have clicked on a button, they've joined your list. Now you were talking about a bit of an email sequence. Can we talk a little bit about one, how we capture that email, and what's this sequence thing? I mean,
So let's say they land on your landing page or a form on your website or both, and it's going to have them submit usually just their first name and their email address. You don't want to ask for too much stuff because then again it's too complex and they'll drop it. So just ask for their email address or name and email, and then they will receive an email basically confirming, congratulations, here's your free gift that I promised you. And that's going to be the freebie download. It'll include the freebie that you're giving them. And I call this the the freebie sequence. I have a little bit of a different format than a lot of people teach. I have like 3 steps to an email sequence. A lot of people only speak about the nurture sequence, but I start with a freebie sequence and then a welcome sequence or nurture sequence, and then the campaigns, like the weekly emails, right? So the freebie sequence, that one is just specific to the freebie that they downloaded. So if you have, 3 freebies, then those each would be slightly different, just based on exactly what it is that they've opted into.
Yeah.
And then when they've gone through that sequence, I'll move them into the next sequence, which is the welcome sequence, which is a bit more of an introduction to me or my business or the problem point that we're solving. And then after that, we can move them into the regular campaigns.
So now, I'm sort of putting myself in the head of a listener who's not really heard the word email sequences before. They may be thinking, "Oh, that sounds like a load of work." But you and I both know it's a little bit about automation, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there is this method of automation. And the way I describe it to clients when I say why it's important, I tell them it's doing the hard work once, so you don't have to work hard all the time.
Yeah.
But if that is the case, how do you then manage this automation? Is it really, is it really hugely hard, expensive, and complex to get these automations going? Or?
It's really not. You can actually do it for free. My favorite is actually MailerLite as an ESP. You can choose any, though. There's a lot of free ones out there, but it's absolutely not expensive to start. The biggest expense is going to be your time in the beginning to just write out a few emails, a few good, friendly emails that sound conversational and sound like you would talk to your friend. And you just want to welcome them in and make them feel important and valued, really. And you just write out a few emails. You automate that. The ESP that you choose will make that very easy for you. If it doesn't, then you need to switch to a different one. But it should be simple.
I mean, and if you're a business owner and you're thinking, God, that sounds really hard work. Think about this: if you had to write to all your leads individually, one by one, how long would that take? And you probably wouldn't think twice about doing it because they're a lead, right?
Yeah.
You're writing it once, and that same email is going to go out to 1,000 leads, 100,000 leads, 5 leads. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that work again, right?
Exactly. And you can input where you want their first name to show up. And it'll feel personal, especially if you write it conversationally. It will feel exactly as though you're truly emailing them one-on-one and just taking care of them.
And that is another, you're dropping these little bits of good gold nuggets everywhere, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. And these, the thing you were talking about here about being conversational, why is that important?
Well, I think that people are no longer interested in something that sounds like it's robotic and far away, machine, a business. People want to talk to a person. They don't want to talk to a business. Yeah. People want to see your face. And if it's not your face they're seeing, at least they want to hear you being very conversational in the email.
Yeah.
Because I think that people really value relationship. People don't really value a big, huge franchise business, something that feels like a business, they know you're a business, but they want the real person behind the business. I think that just being personal and relational really speaks to people's hearts a whole lot more than something that feels huge.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That is brilliant. So hopefully by now through this interview, you're hearing that tech is necessary. It isn't scary. And there are tools you can get, some of which are nearly free or free, that can help you along this path, right?
For sure.
And if you do the work once, if you do the thing, if you follow the advice you're getting here once, that Crystal is giving you, then you're going to reap the rewards of that for many months to come. And of course, you may need to tweak it 6 months or 2 years down the line because circumstances may change. But that's the essence, isn't it, Crystal? Yeah.
Automate your stuff. Do it really well the first time in the beginning, and you can really set yourself up for a lot of success down the road.
So now, what I want our listeners just to be aware of is that some of them may already have websites. They may already be getting people filling in their contact form, but they're not getting email sequences. And if you're not getting these key elements, so we've got a website. We talked about a homepage, which is just standard to a website. We've talked about having a lead page, landing page, which could either be an opt-in page or a sales page to get a sale. Either way, they've got to make sure they collect the email addresses and then follow up. That would be a critical thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because some people may not be ready to buy today; they may be ready to buy in 3 months. And if you have to do that manually, that is, really costly, time-consuming.
Yeah.
So if you think tech was expensive, you try not using tech.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's even more expensive to just not use tech.
Absolutely.
You're leaving money on the table then.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is one small step they could take in implementing some of this stuff? Is there something you could offer them they could read? Do you have let me ask you this. I know what the answer is going to be, but do you have a lead magnet that you can offer our listeners?
I do have one. The question is if I can remember the link. I think I might even remember the link to it.
If you remember the link, by all means, but we're going to take the links and put them in the show notes. So that's, if you can't, then don't worry. What is the link to?
It's a link to the 6 key decisions that you need to make before you begin your email list or start your website.
Oh my God! I'm going to download that after this show.
And it's a worksheet. It's a simple worksheet, and it's the 6 questions. It's just each decision you need to make is just a question that helps you identify those 6 things, and then you're off to the right start.
So let me give our listeners a little bit of a heads up of what is actually going to be available to them. So we've talked about a lead magnet, and we've talked about a email sequence. Now, if you don't want to know these 6 questions, and you'd be crazy. Was it 6 or 7 questions?
6, yeah.
So if you didn't want to know the 6 questions, then you'd be crazy not to be fair. If you didn't want to know them, wouldn't it be amazing to actually see an amazing landing page functioning really well, and for free, you're going to get an email sequence because guess what? Crystal has got an email sequence that's going to follow up. So for no other cost than clicking on the button, plus you're going to get, of course, the amazing lead magnet, which I'm sure is going to be great. I'm going to get it after this show. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that maybe I should ask you that could be of value to our listeners, Crystal?
I mean, I think we covered it really well. I mean, yeah, that's that. If they follow all these things, they're really off to a good start. And I mean, I will be producing a digital course on how to build your own websites and so forth, so that you don't need to hire a web designer each time. So resources like that are coming as well. So yeah, if the readers, if they download that lead magnet, that's essentially some free training right there for them on how to do, an email sequence and all that. So
brilliant. Crystal, I got one last question I ask all my guests, and on the business name that we operate under is called Success Story Builder, because we help build business success stories.
For sure,
we do.
Yeah.
So the question I have for you is, can you think of what the building blocks of your success story has been so far to date? I know you've got a long journey ahead, but you've also come a very long way. So have you got some of the building blocks that helped you get to your success? Success story?
Honestly, I mean, I'm sure that I could, if I had months to ponder up an amazing answer, I could come up with all sorts of things. But just on the fly right now, I would say my commitment to learn about business was honestly the biggest thing, probably. I actually committed at the beginning of 2020 that this is the year that I will learn about business and really commit to learning. And that has honestly helped. Like I listen to podcasts every single day about business. I'm putting it into my head, and that's why I'm able to answer things quickly, because I've learned the stuff not just by writing down an answer, but by listening and absorbing it. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just the commitment to learn.
That is amazing. Crystal, you have been an incredible guest. I'd love to thank you on behalf of our audience. I know they've got some real amazing stuff, plus the download that you're going to give them. If you just give me the links, I'll put them in the show notes.
For sure.
I'd just like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the goodness and the giving nature you've had today, by just giving openly and freely of all the stuff you've got. Yes,
well, it was a huge pleasure, and I think that people should use this building block I talked about and listen to your podcast. I think that's like the podcast that you've got is exactly the kind of podcast that I dedicate myself to listening to all year. So be listening.
So nice of you to say so. Yeah. Crystal, all the very best.
Thank you so much. Best to you too.
You have been listening to the Talking Business with Gordon podcast with Gordon De Silva. Next week, we're going to be talking about how could you make a 300% increase in your profitability with a much smaller increase in an element of your business. It's part of our 1% rule, but you'll see this was a bit more dynamic than that. So join me next week. Thank you for listening to the Talking Business with Gordon podcast.